my success has changed a lot from coming from software, where I kind of gauged my success by how much stuff I had. I now gauge my success on how much I'm high-fiving people and smiling and enjoying life. So every day that I don't dread waking up for a sales meeting or something like that is a day I'm very happy with. So that is my success, is not stressing out over someone else's quota.
On this episode of Establishing Your Empire, entrepreneur Jess Martin. Jess founded Stronghorn Fitness back in 2013 and has ever since made waves in the Central Texas fitness industry. In this episode, we take a deep dive on how Jess jumped into the business with very little funding or business plan, yet through hard work and persistence, Jess has made an award-winning company and has designed a life judged by happiness. You're listening to the Establishing Your Empire show, a podcast that inspires entrepreneurs, creatives, and future business owners to pursue their passions, grow their organizations, and build their empire. My name is Darren Herman, and creatively, I'm best known for my photography, but business-wise, my claim to fame is growing a company from $15K per month in online sales to breaking the $1 million a month barrier. And I'm sitting down with interesting people to talk about their process, the lessons they've learned, and how they have established their empires. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you having me on here.
So give us a little background information about yourself.
Okay. So I grew up here in Austin. How far back do you want to go? Like, is that like
maybe the
middle school was rough.
Like how you got your start in your career,
okay.
Maybe this career, the previous one, kind of how. Give us that story.
So after college, got a job. That's what you're supposed to do. Always been in sales. The vast majority of it was software up until 2014. Then I transitioned from sales into something I actually enjoyed, and turned out. Well, so, I mean, I worked my whole life for a career I didn't really enjoy that much. I was decent at sales because I like people.
Sure.
And I worked hard, and I got myself to a VP of sales, which I thought was my dream role. Turns out it wasn't. And so I left that, and I kind of took a little time to figure out what it is that I wanted to do with my life. And I love music, as you mentioned. I love playing guitar and piano and singing, stuff like that. And I love taking care of my body and how the body reacts to different nutrition levels, diets, and workouts and regimes and stuff like that. And those have kind of always been my passions, but I wasn't going to be like a 34-year-old rock star making it big. So I chose the latter and went with wellness in general. So I started Stronghorn and never turned back.
So that's interesting because you were good at your job, but yet it wasn't for you. So how did you make that decision to leave, quit, get fired? What happened there? So
at the end, when I got what I thought was my dream title, I left IBM to go work for an IBM partner. I was going to run their sales team for them. And at the time, it was the same software I was selling with IBM. Mm-hmm. And even I was selling the same software with the startup that IBM purchased that I was a part of. So my transition through that whole phase was from startup. IBM bought the company I was with, worked for IBM for a while, and then left to go basically make my mark as a VP of sales, which I thought was my dream title. And I was young. I was 33, 34 at the time. And it was a very exciting time. I thought I had made it. And I was like, dude, I'm going to just crush life. And as it turns out, it wasn't all I thought it was going to be for a lot of reasons. One, I was not prepared for that role. I think I sold myself pretty well to the interview.
Well, good job, I guess.
I was a sales guy, right? So, but I did. I probably oversold myself because when I got into it, I was pretty lost. I was reaching out to a lot of friends and executives I knew, asking for help and being like, what do I do here? I had this huge quota, and I had never built an entire sales team myself. I had hired and fired people before as a manager, but never having just being told, all right, you need 5 million this year, go. And I'm like, whoa, okay.
So when you had your time off, like, did you know you were going to start a company? Or? No,
not even a little bit. So it was an amicable leave. It wasn't like fired and I didn't just quit. It was a discussion and I'm not thinking I'm going to be able to do this job to the ability that you're going to need it done. I think it's a little too early on. I need a more set up kind of phase to where maybe I could take over, but not build the whole thing.
And they agreed. That was actually coming from you more than from them?
Yes, that part. They came to me asking like, hey, where are we? What are we doing here? And then I came clean. I was like, I've been busting my ass trying to figure that out. And I don't think I have the answers, unfortunately. And so we go, okay, well, we'll just before we get any deeper, let's part. And that was about a year in. I gave it a full try. But then that's when I took a little 4 months off, kind of sabbatical, if you will, soul searching and whatnot. But I was still looking for software jobs and software sales managers and stuff like that. So I was looking for a different outcome, trying to do the same thing.
Yeah. So walk me. So how did it come up? Like, was it some idea to start your own company? Like, how did that?
It actually was.
Itself?
So a buddy of mine, Sam, who lived in the same building I lived in downtown, and we worked out together a lot. He suggested that I start a boot camp. And this was pretty early on when Camp Gladiator was starting to really get a hold of Austin and gain some popularity. And
but
boot camps
nowhere near what they were.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I remember those
years.
days.
Yeah, they were. I mean, they had probably a dozen trainers.
Right.
And so now they're in a dozen states. But but they were just kind of started that, and so it was a very popular thing to do in the early in like 2013, 14. And so he basically, I remember he closed a huge deal with Chipotle. I don't know if we're allowed to say that. But he made a bunch of money, and he was like, I'll put $30,000 into this. So you become the sweat equity. And I had 51% of the company, and he took 49, and he said he would put in $30,000. And about $8,000 in, he said, I'm out of money. And
interesting.
Not total. I mean, he wasn't broke, but
Yeah,
he was
yeah.
like, I overstepped. I don't think I can keep putting money into this at the extent that we're burning through it.
Yeah, because it can constantly burn. The thing about a company, it's not just like I put my $30,000 on black. No, it might be 30 and then another 20,
Exactly.
another 30.
And the writing was on the wall. It wasn't growing super fast. I mean, we had a lot of traction, and the name brand was great, but it wasn't like money was just rolling into bank accounts. And I think he realized that, and he also had a kid, and he had some responsibilities more than I did. And so I bought him out. I cut him a check for the whole amount and just bought his 49%. And then I've been doing it ever since because I was really enjoying myself and wasn't looking for a massive, windfall of money. I was actually the happiest I'd ever been and the least amount of stress in my life, and I was really enjoying it. So that's kind of where I took over, and that was within the first year. I think it was the first 6 months.
But that got you going. So that was kind of the push over the edge.
I
right?
actually attribute him to the reason why I started it.
Yeah,
because
it
he was
sounds
the
like it.
one that said, like, I believe in you. You need to do this. I have money. Start it. Whether or not he continued is irrelevant. He's the one that pushed me over that edge of like, just take the jump, see what happens.
Do you think you would have started without that?
Probably not. Honestly, I really don't. It wasn't even a thing. I wasn't even considering it until he brought it up.
Wow.
So
that's great. But, you still went and did it, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is a lot of people might just say, oh, great, but then not do the steps. Okay, so he says, okay, I got some cash here. I believe in you. We want to go. What was, like, how did you start? Give it from 0 to 1, right? How'd that happen?
Every Saturday in February, I hosted a free workout at Austin High.
And in what year was this?
2013. 2013. March 4th, 2013 was our first day of business. So all through February, every Saturday was free workout by Jess Martin at Austin High.
And did you have a name at that point?
Oh yeah, no, we were Stronghorn. We had the brand and all that. We went to what was the 99 Designs?
Yeah,
had the logo, all that stuff built up. Which I love the logo. We've had it ever since.
Sure, I like it too. So this is interesting. So you launched a business, and your first thing you did was a free workout.
Yeah, well, it was our first business. What do you? But we needed to gain traction, and the only way to do that was basically guerrilla marketing. And I was sweat equity, so my time, was my money. So I went out, and I was very happy to put on those workouts, and they did. They grew very fast. Luckily, my girlfriend at the time invited people. I neglected to do that because I was scared of failure. And so going into that, I literally thought, oh my God, what if nobody shows up? And so my solution to that was, well, let's just be quiet about it and only have a few friends and just show up and see if this works.
Which is the exact opposite of marketing, right?
100%.
You want as many people there as possible.
Yeah.
But thankfully, again, another person in your life stepped in and helped out.
And just believed in me, and I think I attribute a lot of everything I've done to people believing in me, even more so than myself, because they are the ones that pushed me and made sure that I was as successful as I am currently.
So this has been 5-6 years, and you're still doing Saturday free workouts?
I am. Still doing those, and that's about all I do. I teach a few people, my OGs. I still do the Monday, Wednesday mornings. And then my very first corporate account, I still have them Dropbox. They They were a family from the very beginning, so I'll stay with them. But other than that, I'm done coaching. I have a bunch of coaches now, and all our classes are run by other people.
But you're still going to some of those Saturday workouts?
I do. I do most all of them.
So you've done like, 5 times 50. You've done like 250 of these free workouts.
Oh, more than that. Yeah. Let's say, I've done a lot of labor for nothing.
Yeah, that's fun. But so talk to me. I think that's a great segue into marketing. So what is your marketing strategy? Like, what do you guys do? I
might be the worst. I don't ever really budget for marketing and stuff like that. What we do basically is a lot of, like I said, we're free workouts, which is a huge draw, but we use a lot of social media and word of mouth. And we basically believe in that if we do a good job and we do it better than others, people will be our champions for us.
So, and it's funny that you think that's bad when you say marketing. It's some of the best, if you can get word of mouth referrals and people talking about your business, that's the best form of marketing. Unfortunately, a lot of us just jump to how much money can I spend? Where can I put it? What ad is going to get me a bunch of sales, as opposed to actually like having people care about your company and what you're doing. I think that's actually fantastic. So talk to me about Instagram and social media in general, because that's gone through a big transition at the same time. How has that changed, helped, whatever with your company?
When I very first started, I thought Facebook was awesome. I lived on it. It was great. When we'd have huge workouts. We'd have up towards 100 people showing up on Saturdays. And Facebook would let me tag most of them. They very quickly started chipping away at that, where you could only tag so many people because it was getting abused by people like me.
Marketers, we ruin everything. Yeah, and you might not consider yourself a marketer, but you are.
Unfortunately, you are. Sorry. That was it. And it was great. It would gain huge traction. I would tag all these people in this photo, and of course they're all smiling, having a great time on a Saturday morning, and they would all comment, and it would gain a lot of traction really quickly. And it would take 30 minutes of my time after the workout, get the photo up, tag everybody, say something witty and fun, and then just go and watch as all these people are commenting. It shows up on their page. Their friends see it. They comment, "What is this? What are you doing? Why are you with all these people? Why are you sweaty and smiling?"
And pretty people a lot of times too.
Why are you with all these attractive people? No.
The people that want to work out. Yeah. So, and with that, and I know this because I did this for you a long time ago. Mm-hmm. How did you get that photo? Like, and getting that, creating that content early on, or even now? When
we very first started, my girlfriend did it. We were very bootstrapped, just that's what we did. We relied on friends and family to kind of help us out. People like you coming out and taking photos and stuff like that. Like, I even had the idea, and I did this I think 2 or 3 times. I put an ad on Craigslist, and it was for photographers, and I openly said, this is not a paid gig, but it'll gain you a lot of traction. I'm getting 10 to 15,000 views on all these photos from Facebook and all that stuff, from all the people sharing and all that. This is instant not credibility, but instant people seeing your work. And I want you to put your spin on it. And so I'd have photographers come out, and they would take photos of us all working out and photos afterwards with all together, and they would put it in their style. Some would have black and white photos only. Some people have some really crazy editing with wild colors and stuff like that. All the same. It was great. And it made an amazing ability to show people's work and creativity, and all the while gain me access to photographers across Austin
without having to pay for it.
Exactly.
And I think this is a key point, is that 1, you asked, and 2, you were upfront about it. Like you weren't saying, well, maybe I'll pay you later or this or that. It was, this is free. This is the deal. Take it or leave it. It's totally cool, but I'm going to give you freedom to do it how you want. And you know what's nice? It's a Saturday. So sometimes there's a lot of amateur photographers too that just kind of want to go shoot interesting things.
Yeah.
In fact, I kind of wish I used to be more into that, of just going and shooting.
Yeah.
And now it's like time, and I actually miss doing some of the just interesting things. And the thing about a workout class is there is a lot of people there, and people always like pictures of people. Like, they like to see that as opposed to just landscapes or something.
If you can make someone look good working out, or look cool working out, that's going to be one of their favorite photos.
Yeah, they might be a profile photo for them.
Immediately, and it gains a lot of traction that way. And you will gain, as a photographer, if somebody wants that photo, they're going to put it, and they'll tag you on it and be like, "Thank you so much for capturing this." So it works for both people. And I mean, eventually we would pay people to take photos, but that's was down the line when we would need to ensure that it looked a certain way.
Right.
When we had that creative freedom to be like, look, we just want photos so we can tag people and it to look cool. We want to kind of basically show you off your skills along with what we're doing. Have fun. But towards the, after a few years, we needed to really start kind of focusing in a little bit and say like, we need to make sure these look a certain way. Make sure that, you get some photos of people jumping, people doing burpees, people doing the movements that we're trying to advertise for our workouts.
And that's different. It's good because then if you have a shot list, then somebody's kind of working. Then.
Right. Yeah. When it's more jobby, you we'd pay.
And, and I think some of the photographers, they don't need to pay. They just want the credibility of like seeing their photo of somebody's profile photo. I still have that where I enjoy like, oh, somebody's got, that's my profile photo.
Yeah.
Okay. So is there anybody in the industry that you kind of looked up to or mentored you, especially during the beginning of the process or middle maybe?
Yeah. So unfortunately or fortunately, I always looked at Camp Gladiator as this kind of, and I knew Allie and Davison, the owner, and her husband, them way before I even started in the industry. But I kind of looked at them as like, they did something amazing. They took just a couple people working out and turned it into this huge conglomerate, for better or worse, whatever your views on their workouts and what they do and how big they've gotten. They've done something amazing, and they've probably gotten more people off their couch and outside working out than maybe even CrossFit. But all that being said, I kind of looked to them for guidance. I saw some of the mistakes they made, and we tried not to make those, and some of their successes, and we copy that. It's almost like going into business, you don't need to reinvent the wheel, but you definitely don't want to just copy and paste. That never works out. But you also don't want to make the same mistakes and be like, what's really good? A square wheel. Let's go that route. So you want it to be round. You just don't want it to be the same Michelin tire. So I looked at the beginning, but then I noticed real quickly I needed to differentiate ourselves because people were being like, "Oh, you're like Camp Gladiator." I'm like, "Damn it, that's not. I did not do a good enough job of making sure we weren't the same thing."
Not exactly.
Yeah. So we kind of branched off of that, but as far as mentorship and true, someone who actually like looked out and helped me was Dane Krager of Dane's Body Shop. He might not even know this because I don't ever talk to him about it, but he invited me in and showed me his books and said like, look, when you're getting into this, this is what you're getting into kind of thing. And really showed me what it's going to take to be successful and to have a wellness company or gym or anything of that matter. And what it's going to take to make that actually go through and be successful. And so that was someone I really looked to. I asked him multiple questions. He was always very open and honest with me. He was almost to the point of scary. To be like, make sure you want to do this. If you're in it for money, it's probably not your gig. If you're in it for passion and you actually enjoy it, you will be plenty successul.
So interesting enough, Christine Chen was already on the podcast and she did the commercials for Dane Body Shop. Yeah. So a little funny connection there. Yeah. So that's it. So, and then he showed you more of the books and how to like actually make it a real business as opposed to just,
he was very open and honest about what it takes to be successful. He did the same thing I did. He just had a boot camp. They were swinging kettlebells in a park and then he got a location. And now he branched into another location and he's got a very good community that he's built there.
So what advice would you give people who want to enter the fitness world, like as a trainer or anywhere in the fitness world?
And I can't even take all the credit for this. I'm a trainer. I know put this out there and it really resonated to me was that basically build your knowledge base first, because there's lots of people that can be trainers. There's a lot of what you would consider a successful trainer out there that's just a good people person. They just know how to stand up in front of people. They're an entertainer. And they're having you doing squats and burpees and running around in circles. But if you really want to be successful in this industry, you have to build your knowledge base about human anatomy, how it works, what your body does when it's given this or when it's challenged by this. And I think that the people that are the most successful in this industry are the ones that truly do have a thirst for knowledge around that. It's not just, I like getting sweaty, so I'm going to be a trainer. I was a college athlete. What am I going to do? I know how to work out. Maybe I'll be a trainer. That's just kind of an out. I think if you really want to be successful in this business, you have to have a knowledge base and constantly be building it because it's always changing. We're not, bodybuilder workouts from the 80s anymore, listening to Iron Maiden or whatever, when, idolizing Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's a different model. Every decade, there's a different way to work out that's better and more modern, and you got to be on top of it.
So it sounds like you probably have had some trainers where you've experienced them not having knowledge.
Yeah, and some that have had so much knowledge that they're better off somewhere else. Like we don't do very specific Olympic lifting and stuff like that. And trainers that come in with that knowledge base and that love that, I would love to have you on, but it's like the bassist for Primus when he tried out for Metallica, and they're like, no, you need to be in a band that specifically focuses around your skill set because it's that good. That's the kind of thing. It goes both ways. I mean, people can be overqualified for the job of boot camp instructor. You can literally not be utilizing yourself the knowledge. Now, we do personal training, all that stuff too, but we don't have Olympic platforms for people to work on.
It takes too long to learn. I've done plenty of Olympic lifting. It's great, but I also like to
you have to be meticulous with your movements, or you will get hurt. So there's a lot of knowledge that needs to be utilized there, and for people to and I hate to focus on the bad and say like, oh, we've had trainers that just don't know what the hell they're talking about, and there's always people that come in. They took some random online course and they played, JUCO baseball, and all of a sudden they think they know what they're doing. It's like, no, I get it. You're an athlete your whole life, but that doesn't mean you know how to show someone else how to not hurt themselves. And that's kind of where it comes down to. So
yeah, I think that's a big thing of not hurting yourself,
right?
But also being motivated to come every day and trying to push them, but maybe not too much.
Yeah. I don't care how motivated you are. If you're broken, you're not coming to work out.
So what's a common myth around being a trainer or owning a business of trainers?
Oh, well, that it's easy. This industry is incredibly sophomoric. It's comical because there are a lot of people that come into it when they don't really have anything else to fall back on. It is a lot of people that, and not
communications major of business.
I don't want to focus on no communications majors. That'd be mad at me. But no, I mean, lots of people that they played sports or they just really enjoy working out, to the point, whether it's for vanity or functionality or anything. But just because they enjoy working out doesn't mean they're going to be a good trainer. And I think that's a huge misconception of this industry, and why so many people get into it is because they think, oh, my passion is working out. No, your passion is you looking good naked. That doesn't translate to you being able to help someone else look good naked or be able to get over an injury, which is a lot of what this industry is. So the biggest misconception, I think, is why people get into this job is that it seems to be kind of an easy buck. You do hang out with someone for an hour and get $75. I'll take that all day. But that's at the end of the day, those trainers they're not successful. They don't make it.
So what's your favorite workout to do yourself?
Oh, geez. My personal favorite workout, I have a huge tugboat rope that a friend of mine gave me, and it weighs about 420 something pounds. It's 100 feet long, and it's about probably 5 inches across.
Like a softball, maybe bigger.
Yeah. And it's 100 feet long, and you can throw a loop over one shoulder and run it out, and it gets heavier as you go.
Sounds
because
terrible.
You're creating more friction as the rope gets longer and drags. And when you've got it completely pulled out, you turn around, you drop it, and you pull it back in with your arms, and you see how many times you can go back and forth with that. That is just brutally, embarrassingly humbling.
And so is that like a 15-minute workout?
If you're doing it by yourself, not even. You do it probably 5 or 6 times out and back, you're smoked. There's no way you're going more than that. I'll do it with my friends, or my brother and I love to do it. I'll take it to the ranch and we'll run it out and see how many times we can do it before we gas out. And we've gotten up to 50, him and I going back and forth, but that's not a speed. We're very much paced. Yeah. Just getting it to the end, resting. One person will run it out, the other will pull it in, and then reverse it. So,
oh man,
adds a little rest, but it's fun.
So who's your favorite type of person to train?
Enthusiastic ones. People that are there, and we're not trying to, like I said, we're not reinventing the wheel or anything like that. You really just need to be motivated and be happy to be there. Just know that if you're going to work really hard, but it's going to end, and then you'll feel better about it later. And those are the ones that are the absolute best people to work out with, because they're probably smiling regardless of what they're doing. It makes it so much easier for me to be optimistic and have fun with you while we're working out. Those people are the ones that are really going to see a difference and really embrace the lifestyle, rather than the people that come in and be like, I need to lose 20 pounds in a week. What can I do? You're like, oh God.
Well, I think that positive energy is very transferable between the two of you, and being around people that are that way. I mean, if you had to choose, you got to choose your own life, and you're choosing your own business and your own company. You know, those seem like the type of people I'd want to be around as well. Now, you can't always choose who shows up.
Absolutely not.
But so what's something that you wish you would have known when you started that you might know now?
I guess I would say I wish I would have done this earlier. I guess is what probably the biggest thing. I don't know if that really answers the question you asked specifically.
Same answer that somebody else has given. So
oh, really?
I think that's gonna be a common theme there.
Well, it really is, man. I did it. I started when I was 33 or 34, and I'm 40 now. And I wish I would have done it when I was 24, 25, just because it's a young man's game to be out coaching, especially group classes and stuff like that. It's incredibly draining on your energy levels. It's so much fun, and I feed off crowds, and I love it. But if I coach 1 or 2 classes back to back, I'm smoked. I'm absolutely just drained. And I wish I would have done it earlier, only because I'm sure I would have made way more mistakes. But I wish I would have done it earlier just because I would have had a longer stint in the excitement of being outside and working with people and stuff like that, and not so quickly transitioning into more of the office, the desk, you know? So
yeah. So what does success look like for you?
What does success look like for me? I guess success looks like for me, I get to travel a lot. I get to live a great life. I live in Tarrytown. I have all the toys I ever need. My success has changed a lot from coming from software, where I kind of gauged my success by how much stuff I had. I now gauge my success on how much I'm high-fiving people and smiling and enjoying life. So every day that I don't dread waking up for a sales meeting or something like that is a day I'm very happy with. So that is my success, is not stressing out over someone else's quota or something like that.
I totally get that. It's actually pretty funny. One of the reasons why I started my own thing is I was tired of meetings, pointless meetings. I'm fine with meetings, just not pointless ones.
I had meetings to plan meetings at IBM. It was amazing.
That's it's comical. So who has been the most important person in your life?
Oh, outside of family or within family?
however you want to answer.
My father, father or brother. That's a tough one.
Okay, how about outside of family?
Outside of family, that would be my girlfriend currently. She has really made life very easy for me. Since almost a year now, she has made, I guess, everything seem a little more fun. And so it was kind of reignited that passion of like getting out, helping people and doing stuff. You can get burnt out pretty easy if you got both ends lit. And so I think that everyone needs someone else to kind of much like when I started, I knew I could do it. I kind of want to do it, but you needed someone else to kind of show you, like, I believe in you. You can really do this. And I think she's done that for me tremendously just this past year. That's kind of opened my eyes up to a whole lot of new opportunities with the business and even outside the business, and another one that I'm starting. And she's really gotten me to step away a little bit and embrace not working and taking long weekends to go places and resetting.
Resetting is big for me. That's where I get my best ideas. Yep. And, especially after you kind of have your foundation, which is your current company's foundation's done, obviously it's going to always need some help to keep running, but you never know what your next idea, how much that could be worth. And if you're just struggling doing 40 hours doing this or watching TV all the time, you might not ever think about that big idea.
Yep.
So this other business, is it too early to talk about, or is
no?
Tell us?
I actually decided to do it last year and had to put it on hold due to some transitions in Stronghorn. I was grooming a guy to kind of take my position. And so in doing that, I couldn't just bail on him and say, good luck, figure this out. So I held back and didn't start it yet. So it's going to be a 2020 thing, but it's still in wellness. It's just a consulting firm for corporate wellness. And so what it'll do basically is I'll go into companies and basically just find out what they want and what they need around wellness and design it, package it, and then outsource it to companies here in Austin. There's plenty of people doing wellness. There's plenty of fitness companies. There's a bundle of people that know what they're doing very well, better than I am, better than I can. And so I'm going to take my background in sales and corporate world and utilize that to an extent of navigating org charts and going into companies and basically talking with executives or even just HR people about what they need and what they could use, package it up and let somebody else do the sweatiness.
So that sounds like something that you could expand outside of Austin with.
Yeah, very
kind
easily.
of everywhere, pretty much. Yeah.
That's the plan, right? Scale it.
Yeah,
so
very scalable.
I tried to make both my business ventures scalable, and I never wanted it to be Jess Martin Fitness. I'm not Jillian Michaels. I'm not going to be a celebrity trainer.
Not yet. Maybe you never know.
So that it's tough. It's very hard to do, and you're limiting yourself tremendously. So if you can build a brand or a community or even a methodology, people can buy into that across the board, and you can put that anywhere and people buy into it. But nobody outside of my friends or maybe just a small network here in Austin know who Jess Martin is. And so it's very hard for Jess Fitness to take off in Dallas if nobody knows who Jess is. So
yeah, and I also think that, you start spreading yourself pretty thin if you're the only face of the company.
Nobody wants to take anybody else's classes.
Yeah,
like, this is Jess Fitness. When does Jess teach? I want the best. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, drive to Dallas again. All right. So, any regrets with with the company that you started or life in general?
Yeah, there's plenty. There's lots of potholes I stepped in. Lots of things I could have done better. I think the biggest regret I have was expanding too fast, too soon. We branched way out into some realms that we were not ready for, and with the mindset of let's sell it and figure it out kind of thing, and that works to an extent. But I found myself spread real thin trying to find people that do sports specific training and yoga and Pilates and all these things that I had no idea about. But I promised the world to get a deal or to get into a new vertical, and then tried to figure it out. And I found myself trying to figure out too many things at once. And so I had to pull back and turn deals down and say, I can't do that, which I absolutely hate doing, in order to make sure that we survived and could continue to be profitable.
Yeah. And it just, it sounds like that's something that you couldn't do the quality control because you yourself didn't have the knowledge base. So what's, for those who don't know, for Stronghorn, what is your kind of, I guess, I wouldn't say differentiator, but maybe like what do you guys specialize in?
So we when we very first started, we were an outdoor bodyweight boot camp. Very, very simple. That morphed 2 years after all the camp gladiator comparisons. We started to be more kettlebell specific, and then we became kettlebell training specialists. That's what we did for the last couple of years. Within the last year and a half, we've transitioned even farther out of that. And now we have some outdoor classes still that we do, and we are still kettlebell specialists. But the main point of our focus and the vast majority of our business now comes from remote coaching, corporate wellness, and fitness center management.
Great. So walk me through like the day in the life of Jess Martin. Like, what do you do?
How's roll it going? Out of bed at the crack of noon.
Any daily routines, food?
Oh God, I'm a man of routine. That was one thing that my girlfriend got me out of, was just, I would call it a routine. She would call it a rut. So take it for whatever it is. But no, I'm a man. I have strict habits. I very much enjoy waking up early in the morning, having my coffee. I'm starving as soon as I roll out of bed, so I have to eat food. I journal now. I enjoy being outside more. I take my dog for a walk. By 7 o'clock or so, I'm working, and that's just checking emails and stuff, because I go to bed at like 9 o'clock, so I miss things at night. And then from there, it's just, I work typically, if I'm not coaching in the morning, I work from home or coffee shops or whatever till about lunch. And that's when I start meetings. I try to schedule all my meetings after my morning. After reading a Tim Ferriss book back in the day, I tried to make sure that I leave kind of everything, I get as much as I can cracked away early, set up my meetings and stuff to all kind of go back to back, where I don't have to focus on emails or responses or stuff like that. And then after that, I usually work out in the afternoon, coach at night, or go home, make my food, and go to bed. Sure.
So you said a couple things in there that I think is interesting. So when you wake up, it's not email first.
No.
Which I think is different from a lot of people.
No, it's me. That's me time. I like to get up early, and I like to actually enjoy starting the day with, I'm about to start getting real hippie here. But I like to go over my gratitudes and stuff like that. And I write in my journal, and I make sure that I start, I make my bed every single morning as an accomplishment. I'm done. First thing when I wake up, I have accomplished a goal.
Check that box.
Yep. And then I go into what I'm grateful for that day. My girlfriend and I do the same thing back and forth, what we're grateful for. And it's just a way to start your day positive note. You not only completed a goal, but then your brain is already starting to focus on being optimistic, silver linings, things you're happy about, rather than waking up and going, shit, I have a meeting at 10. I got to prepare for it. I don't even want to be there. That kind of crap. That's immediately tanks your day. And so you're just going to constantly be in this funk. So I found that if you can kind of almost trick your brain into being positive, it'll carry out through the day.
And you kind of led already into my next question, which was, so the journaling, is that part of the gratitude or is that separate?
It's both. I write my gratitudes in there as well.
Is there an amount that you need to write every morning? Is it, you have 5 items, 5 lines?
No, it's one. My gratitude is one. I might write 3 things tops, but I want to make sure I have one every day. So I want to limit it down and not try and list every single thing I'm grateful for. The journaling aspect, a lot of it is just for memory jogging and stuff like that. Ideas I have, business ideas, anything like that. Or just kind of what I'm going through that time, that day, or what transpired last night. If I had a crazy dream or anything like that, that's kind of what I'll put in there just to look back at. I started journaling years ago when I lived in Dallas. And all it was every night I would recap what happened that day. And I did that for about 1.5 years and then stopped. I got lazy. But I still have that journal and I can look back at it. And when I read a page in that book, I go, oh my God, I remember that day. And it's amazing what your brain can do if you have just something to jog it. And so I found that writing things down like that, just even if it's kind of what happened that day, a movie you saw, friends you hung out with, something that kind of might make that day stand out, your brain will file that away. And when you read it again, years down the road, you'll remember a lot of other things that happened around that time that you had completely forgotten about.
I also think it's a fantastic thing to download outside of your brain. I don't think your brain's a very great short-term storage device because it constantly has to remember. Yep. And as soon as you download it, you've kind of given permission. You could go ahead and let this go and open up for other ideas or thoughts or whatever it might be. So I thank you for sharing for that. Oh. So we got a new company coming. What else does the future hold for you?
Oh gosh. Well, that is a big venture. I have lots of travel on the books. Like I said, long weekends. Fun? We're going to Dominican Republic in December, and then I'm pretty sure, I haven't fully committed this yet, but we're going to Burma in March for a Doctors Without Borders thing. My girlfriend's going over there, and she wanted me to go along. So it'll be 10 days over there helping out people with medicine, and just apparently it's not very going very well over there right now. So any help's good, and so I'm going to tag along over there, and that'll be probably the one big trip I do next year. I like weekend trips. Long trips I get a little antsy about because I'm still not comfortable taking 10 days away from everything and being just shut off and be like, sure hope I come back to something. You know,
I'm a big fan of the 7 to 8 days because then I start. I wouldn't say anxiety because it's probably a little too strong, but it starts kind of creeping. My thoughts start worrying a little bit.
Exactly. So that's I think that like as far as trips, that's a big concern, or that's the big go. And I'm 88% sure I'm going to do that. She's really wants to go. So
yeah.
But then, as far as business goes, I continue want to grow Stronghorn. We have the verticals that we're in right now that we know are the most profitable and the most successful, and the one that's most scalable. So that'll take most of our attention in 2020, as well as the consulting firm, because that just goes hand in hand. And that's easy. I could do that on my own kind of spare time. And then whatever rewards reap from that, great. I can basically take the really good deals and keep them in-house for Stronghorn, or outsource the ones that are a little less profitable. So,
and this, I think they've kind of done this two times with your companies. It sounds like you just kind of go figure it out and then structure it, as opposed to some people will want a perfect plan before they start.
Yeah, I still don't have a business plan for Stronghorn.
I mean,
I've literally never written one out. I'm like, whatever, I'll figure it out.
I don't know that many people that actually have a business plan. I think that's something you do in college, but I mean, it does make sense to get things in the line. And I always, when I help people start their businesses, I just do that kind of for fun. I've done quite a few of them actually, but one of the first things a bank will ask you is how many, especially I would call your business somewhat a retail business, right? Because you have people coming through. It's not like a pop-up shop, but is how many people does it take for you to break even? Daily, weekly, monthly? That's one of the first questions a bank will ask you if you needed a loan.
Yeah.
And that one's great because then you can start spreadsheeting. Okay, if my cost is X, my profit's Y, I need this amount, Z amount of people or whatever it is. Yep. But to a extent of a full business plan, I think it's great to have a vision, but things change real quick.
I mean, I could from where we started almost 7 years ago to now, the only thing that's the same is we have workouts. I mean, that's it. We're in the workout industry.
And then you have the Saturday thing, but yeah.
Yeah, but for the most part, I mean, even those have changed in how they're instructed, how they've gone about, what times. I mean, we used to change the time in the wintertime, it would be later, and the summertime would be earlier. And we just did away with that stuff. You learn as you go, way more so than you'll ever learn thinking real hard at the beginning. So
right, there's just too many unknowns, and also things go a different direction. Is how strong it is now? Is that when you started? Is this kind of what your vision was, or is it completely different?
It's I would not say it's completely what I thought. What I thought it was going to be was, honestly, I thought I was going to start and explode, and then I was going to sit back and just be like, "This is awesome! Look what I did here." And that's not the case at all.
Just collected all the money.
Yeah, I was just going to open my mailbox, and then just dollar bills are falling out. But no, that's not the way it works. And going in, I mean, that obviously wasn't exactly what I expected, but I did have this like, okay, if I'm going to do this, let's get it built up. In a couple of years, I'll stop training altogether, and I'll just run the company. And that was kind of it. I never wanted to be a 40-year-old outdoor aerobics instructor. But at the end of the day, like, I do enjoy coaching, and I enjoy that to the point of like, I don't know if I want to stop yet, because I don't want to be doing, 12 classes a week. That's for damn sure. But doing my 5 a week, that's not hard. I mean, it's
on your own terms.
2 Monday, 2 Wednesday, and 1 Saturday. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, and you're able to pick that. I think that's a big difference. Is if you had to do 12, I think you could get a little burnt out or upset about it. But you're saying that's what you want. Yeah. So how did you come up with the name Stronghorn?
So my buddy Brett Tudor, who is an actor now out in LA, he and I were hanging out. We used to play guitar and sing and stuff a lot and write songs and whatnot. And so he was over at my place, and he owned, I think he still owns it. He does own it, but it's a different name. It used to be called Green Longhorn, and that was the name of his home inspection company. It was green because we were very green, everything they did, all the tests they did and all that kind of stuff was not harmful to the environment and all that. And he wanted to keep it that way. And then he had the idea of going Green Longhorn, and he was going to have maybe blue Longhorn for commercial inspections and maybe gray Longhorn for that and all this kind of stuff. And he kind of had that idea. And he knew that I was toying with the idea of going into the fitness, and he was thinking maybe he could have something in there. And Strong Longhorn came out, and there was a strong horn, and that just kind of fell into our lap. And then, I was like, that's great. I'm going to do that. And that was like the name of it. And I was like, okay, I think we're going to have to run with that. That's just too good. It makes sense. And then a year and a half later, Charlie Strong got hired by UT, and all shit hit the fan.
Funny. Yeah, because Strong, I did. Yeah, that's actually
started
great.
Calling themselves Stronghorns, and it was very weird to be in a legal battle with UT over I had the patent, or not the patent, the trademark I had on that word.
And you actually did have it, or was that some? Yeah.
But it wasn't in the right category. I went through LegalZoom and all that crap, or Trademarkia, and I didn't pay attention to what they auto selected or something, to the point of where I had a weird trademark. It was on it wasn't on apparel or shirts and stuff like that. Like, that's the one you wanted because that's what everybody was selling, Stronghorn shirts. And but I had a trademark nonetheless, and I had first right of use, so like they couldn't sue me, they couldn't take it away from me. But I also couldn't afford to fight them either.
Right.
And so after a couple lawyer letters, which are very expensive, by the way, I just said, screw it. We agreed to just harmonize, I guess. And they would use it and have full right, and they would protect it. And I was the only company allowed to use it as well. And then Charlie tanked, and it became a bad name. So, so now I'm like, okay, let's just let that go and just disappear. So let's forget about that little stint with Charlie.
Yeah, if you ever need intellectual property help, let me know. That's what my wife does. So
okay, good to know.
She's not a lawyer, but she's been in that business her whole life. Yeah, the trademark deal, that it does completely matter. And then you can run a search for it, and that is something that I would recommend. Literally, just Google trademark search, and it won't come up, and then you can kind of. But for you, you're like, this is my name. You're not worrying about the, Texas Longhorns,
It was just by luck I decided to trademark that. That was definitely not a plan. Like, I need to make sure I own this name, or I would have bought all the categories. It would have been expensive. But if I would have thought like this is the thing,
a pot.
It's not cheap to do that. And so, no, in hindsight, even if I did have them all, I think we would have just been in a legal battle long enough to where it wouldn't have mattered. He didn't do well quick enough where if he would have done phenomenal and they were to this day still calling students Stronghorns, that would be different, but it's not. So it kind of worked itself out.
Yeah, sounds good. So when you came up with the name, what was that? Was that kind of you guys drinking back and forth? Like, how did that actually pop into your head?
It was literally because his company was Green Longhorn, right? And we were drinking a bunch of wine, and we just kind of flopped into. And he worked out, and he worked out with me some and stuff like that. So we were just kind of powwowing back and bouncing ideas back and forth about what other adventures he would be getting into. It wasn't even about me at the time. And then he was like, "Oh, dude, we could just totally have a whole section that's like workouts, and we could just have a gym, and like all the employees could go in there and all that." And that's how it kind of came about. And then the name Strong Longhorn came out. And then we just shortened it to Stronghorn, and it just kind of fell into our lap. I was like, all right, well, I'm going to start a business.
Well, tell me about your music with you. Like, what does it mean? Is it a release for you? Do you write songs? Do you
that
just
is my
play?
Biggest creative outlet and my most therapeutic outlet. My mom has played piano and sang and played guitar her whole life, and she forced me to take guitar lessons when I was a kid. Excuse me, and I didn't want to do that. I wanted to play. So for a couple years, I took guitar lessons, and she made me stay in choir all through high school. But then after that, I just kind of fell out of it. In high school, I had a friend who taught me how to play some guitar chords. Kyle Ferguson was one of my closest friends. Showed me some of that. Well, then, boom, we became a band. And so I would sing in the band, and he'd play guitar, and then I learned how to play guitar, so I'd play some. And then that's kind of took over. Dave Matthews released Satellite, and that was it. I was all in. I was like, all right, well, guitar is for me. So I play guitar since then, and I don't play it every day, but it's not a week goes by that I don't play and sing and goof off. And then I bought an old electric piano from Baylor, actually, and put that upstairs and started tinkering away on that, and slowly learned to play that too. So it's fun.
That's super fun.
It is absolutely the most therapeutic thing I do.
Do you write any songs or just play?
I do, but nobody ever hears them. They're more like just get this out so I don't have to worry about it anymore. And then more often than not, it gets wadded up and thrown away. A buddy of mine told me a drill to do when you're in a bad headspace or you're just not in a good mood is to just write stuff. Not even like just streaming thoughts. Just write it all out and then like wad it up and burn it or something because you can go weird ways. But that's kind of like my music for me is unfortunately, more often than not, music's made about a sad piece or heartache or something like that. And so I'll tend to write music out or try to create in that area. And it's therapy. It makes you feel better. You kind of get it out, whether you're screaming real loud or you're just singing or you're writing. And then whether I keep it or not, it doesn't matter. If I enjoy it a lot, I'll continue to play it and it'll just be there. But
sounds like a good way to work through some of that stuff, though.
It is. It's great. It's like I said, it's my most therapeutic thing that I do.
That's great. I think it's always good to have some kind of outlet. It's more interesting to me that you actually know that it's the reason why it's there, so you can use it properly. All right. So last question, how would you like to be remembered?
Ooh, as someone who left this place better than I found it. Just someone who did something positive and good, not someone that was a drain, not someone that just kind of leached off of it, but I want to actually be known as someone who did something good and left it that way. Better than I found it.
Love it. All right, Jess, appreciate it. Thank you for coming for the podcast.
Man. Appreciate you having me.
All right. Cheers.